Roger tore his Achilles. Exactly. Exactly. We wanted the Blues in that game because I'm not sure we were mentally tough enough to overcome that. And I went in the locker room, and after a game, you know, as a coach, you got to have a different speech prepared for every scenario. And you just can't walk in front of the media and decide, okay, I'm going to go off the cuff. You got to be able to talk about if you play well, you play poorly, you win, you lose. You know, something crazy happened, you need to be prepared. Well, I needed to be prepared to talk about Roger. We don't talk about injuries with the media at all. So I've taken a page out of my close friend, Coach Belichick, from New England's book, and we don't talk about anything. So I walk in, who's the first person I see standing outside the locker room waiting for me? Is Roger. Tears in his eyes. And he looks at me, and he walks over to me on crutches, and he hugs me. And he says, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint you and the team. Now, what has this young man done to disappoint us? If anything, over the last year and a half, he's done nothing but make us proud. He's been a Hopkins man. And I looked at him and I said, you have nothing to be sorry about. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're dealing with these circumstances. And he stepped back and he looked me in the eye and he wiped his tears and he said, I promise you, I will be back and I will be better than I was before. Now this is a guy for 2 years that had absolutely no grit. None. We were at a point where we weren't sure we wanted him in our family. So fast forward, here we are. This past Monday, this past Monday, 5 months after an Achilles injury, which for a guy my age and my weight would probably take me 12 years. Normally it takes a normal person 9 to 12 months. 5 months. Trainer comes in, Roger's cleared for individual work. He wants to come out and work with your group. Right now we're allowed to do 2 hours of individual skill work with our team. I said we'd love to have him. I mean, you want to talk about a guy, I mean, his head's going in a million different directions. He's flying around. I'm like, hey, Roger, relax. And he's like the Energizer Bunny. He's so excited to be out there. And you can feel his positive energy. And just yesterday morning, we work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. So for you guys, young guys that don't think it's a full-time job, it is. And college guys don't like to get up that early. Kevin will tell you that. We do a version of our conditioning test. So we do 300s, and we got to do 4 of them. So basically, it's 50 yards one way, 50 yards back, 50 yards one way, 50 yards back, 50 yards one way, 50 yards back, and you have to do it at a certain time. And if you get under a certain time, you get a +1 for every second you're under it. If you get over a certain time, you get a -1 for every second you're over it. And in the end, you have to average out to a specific time. Roger did this, and he killed it. He had the best score of anybody on that team. So, what am I telling you this for? What am I telling you young guys that are 9th graders and 8th graders and 7th graders and 6th graders? Why am I telling you this? What does this really matter? Come on, coach, tell me about a great goal or a great player. You can't achieve success in school because you're going to have to overcome bad teachers, maybe teachers you don't get along with, classes you don't like. If you're like me, I never liked any of my classes. If you're like Kevin, you won't like any of your classes either. You're going to have to overcome being tired. Some of you may go to private school, some of you may go to public school. You may have sports, but you're going to have to deal with challenges academically. And make no mistake, guys, school is hugely important. dreams happen because you do your job in school. Sometimes dreams don't happen because you don't do your job in school, and I'll talk about that when I talk about the recruiting process. So, how about lacrosse? What is grit? Well, what about grit? It's having goals, it's having a vision, and staying the course of that vision even when things get tough. Make no mistake, things are tough. Life's not easy, and you're going to have to overcome things. Well, you're going to have to overcome things on the field. What happens if you think you're playing really well and you get cut? Say hello to a guy that got cut from his 7th grade lacrosse team because he was too small. That's right, I grew a little bit. I'll tell you a quick story when I'm done with this. Cried my eyes out. Went back and played baseball. I did something I teach my kids never to do. I did a 34-letter word. I quit. I've never quit anything in my life since. I gave up and I said no more lacrosse. Thankfully, I found my way back to it. Thankfully, I had a great dad. So I had to overcome. I had to overcome circumstances in school and on the field. I never started my freshman year. I didn't play a lick. The first game I played in was in the Final Four in the NCAA semifinal games. I got run by for 4 goals. So the greatest defenseman in the world, I got to pay a lot of money for that. 4 goals. Never forgotten it. You have to overcome those things. And then you have to overcome things in life. Things at home with mom and dad, your brother, your sister, your aunts, your uncle, your grandparents. So why am I telling you guys this? It's a simple word you can all remember. Grit. It means having a passion for something. I can't imagine you would be here with this group, with Titanium, which is a group that takes lacrosse seriously, if you weren't passionate about it. It's about having a passion and keeping that vision even when things get tough. That's what success is. Roger, if we don't win a national championship during his time, he's had a really successful career. You've not heard me talk about the importance of wins and losses. Now, every one of our alums, that's what they want to hear about. Wins and losses, wins, championships, that's it. You guys understand Notre Dame football out here. Well, on a relative scale, that's Johns Hopkins lacrosse. It's not about wins and losses. It's about the process and how you become successful. So, you guys all stood up, am I correct? Okay, now I'm going to ask you another question. Now that you know what it's going to take, do you still want to achieve the highest level of success that you can? Do you really want to do that? Because quite frankly, it's not easy. So I'm going to ask you, if you want to, now stand up. I'd have been disappointed if you didn't. Just do the best that you can. That's all anybody can ever ask of you guys. Do the best that you can, and when things get tough, you keep your chin up, you put your nose down, and you just keep fighting. Does everybody understand that? Can't hear you guys.
Yes, sir.
Great, you can sit now. Okay, now that I've gotten the serious stuff out of the way, I wanted to talk a little bit about recruiting. Recruiting's hard. It's not a lot of fun right now. How many 9th graders do we have in the 2017s? Yes, so starting Saturday and Sunday, your age group is all I'll be watching. How many of you guys drive? Nobody? How many of you guys own a car? How many of you guys shave? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Listen, for you other guys, be happy. I got that Italian. I got to shave like at noon and then at 6 o'clock. 5 of you guys. How many of you guys have a serious relationship with a girl? There you go. All right. I'd like to talk to you after.